The big global changes that are going to affect retail in the next 10 years are fundamentally about the economy and about technology. The big thing about digital is we're not going to tell you that it's about having a website or an app. It's about understanding what's the point in having a digital presence. So for instance, on a mobile phone, being a walking antenna, it's about knowing that your consumer base is going to opt in and say, here I am, come and get me.
One of the key things to remember about retail in emerging markets is that the new consumer in these new markets is not a Western consumer. They are often leapfrogging over the way Western consumers have behaved historically and are far quicker at adapting to technology.
In Europe, for example, we still can't pay for things by the mobile. We still can't search our bank accounts by the mobile. We find it difficult to accept major credit card payments using the system. But if you go to Vietnam, if you go to South Africa, to Nigeria or to Indonesia, that is how people pay to shop, with their mobile, not with their feet.
It's estimated that our global middle-class population is going to increase by over 1 billion in the next decade, and the majority of that growth comes from our ascending markets, our emerging markets.
Increasingly, what we realise is that the volume sale won't come from the middle classes ultimately. It will come from those billion people and the next billion who for the first time have surplus income over than what they need to live on a daily basis. And that is a huge change for retail over the next decade.
Right now, the next billions are unbanked, unserviced, uncredited and unregulated. And that means that they haven't had any money to spend and they haven't had access to credit. They haven't had access to be able to actually become consumers and buy stuff. And what we're going to see in the next decade is these billions of people becoming banked, credited, services regulated. In Africa, this is happening through the mobile phone. One of the effects of this is the idea of Toogood innovation. It's from a Hindi word which is about creativity and creating solutions out of not very much. What we're going to see is brands and businesses innovating in this Toogood way for those with less money, creating solutions for them. The result of Toogood innovation and Indovation innovating for India and Sinovation innovating for China will be this idea of reverse innovation, which I think is really exciting, because what we'll see is once brands and businesses create solutions at a price point and with the resources that works for the next billions, those great innovative ideas will make stuff cheaper back in mature markets for wealthier people too.
The in-store experience, has been pretty static for quite a while. It was, very, very big box dominated, and that's really been something that I think the entire industry has to overcome. This sort of culture of sameness. And if you were to go into any big retailer, on Oxford Street, or you go into another one on, over in Knightsbridge, you go on the ground floor, you close your eyes, and you open them again. I don't think you know where you are. I mean, you could be in a mall in Florida. Every box looks exactly the same.
For retail to survive in the 21st century, it's got to understand its point of difference in the same way that I go to a film to watch a film, I go to the theatre to be engaged with something live. And that really defines the retail experience of the 21st century. It's about being live, it's about an experience. It is about involvement of all 5 senses.
Multi-sensory experiences add a lot to an in-store experience. I think that retail environments really need to consider adding to their experience and the overall experience within their spaces. Now the fact that people are ordering their products online and that they're having less and less physical experience with the retailer, I think it's going to become more and more important that there's a connection between the brand and the consumer, and the way to do that has now become much more exciting. So I think that retailers need to take that on board, really.
Jonathan Chippindale, the CEO at Holition today, was absolutely fascinating in terms of unpacking what augmented reality can do now, today, what it has done today for some brands, and where it will go in the future.
I think kind of where we are now is we sort of look at offline and online having this kind of symbiotic relationship where you can do really great things online, but that doesn't mean that it's kind of anti-retail. It supports retail very well. So the online TSO application we put into windows in Selfridges, facing out into Oxford Street, so that people could try on watches on their way home or popping out for a sandwich at lunch. And then we took that interest and drove them into the store. And they went into store having tried on the virtual watch, tried on the real watch, and bought real watches. So Selfridges sales TSO sales in Selfridges went up 83% during the course of that 2-week promo, which is a really sort of good way of illustrating, one, the power of augmented reality to engage people, two, the ability to drive them in store and create sales. And the whole thing started from an online application that we built from them. I think, you know, if you can buy into the idea that it's good to try something on at home rather than just work from a photograph, then augmented reality naturally plays very, very strongly to that.
It was really interesting today talking to Dean Fankhauser from Nuji. His inspiration for Nuji originally was the way that he discovered music, and he used Amazon to discover music. So he would go to Amazon as you go to buy something. Of course, what you have down there, it says, you know, people that bought this also bought this thing here. So he came across this idea that, although of course that is algorithm based, that he could discover things through other people. And that's the key aspect of Nuji.
I think consumers are interested in curating their own version, almost like their own stores on Nuji. Mostly because there's sort of a bit of a narcissistic element to it. They like the idea of other people choosing things from them and being shown that they actually have good taste.
It's almost like the past is new again. You know, it's about service, it's about niche products, but ultimately it's about credibility. You know, and why should I listen to you? And why do I come to you? And you have to make them love your edit and your focus.
I'm sure that those will be in the document.